Hi, I'm Tamara. I serve with the kids and missions at our Fallbrook campus. Welcome to the Daily Dose. We're in our 40 Days of Freedom series. Have you ever had a really good day that turned bad really fast? Well, that happened to a friend of mine recently. She was in a minor car accident. Everyone was fine. The cars were relatively okay. But the driver of the other car just went sideways. She was really angry. She was yelling at my friend and calling her names. She followed her home, calling 911, demanding that my friend be arrested. It was crazy. If that happened to you, what would you do? Well, today we're going to talk about ways to handle these kinds of situations. And our passage is about a man who, like my friend, was on the receiving end of a lot of anger. He was despised and hated because he was a tax collector, basically a mix between an IRS agent and the mafia. It wasn't good, and people avoided him. But then one day, he met Jesus. And his story begins in Luke 5:27-32. Later, as Jesus left the town, he saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at his tax collection booth. "Come be my disciple," Jesus said to him. So Levi got up, left everything, and followed him. And soon Levi held a banquet in his home, and with Jesus as the guest of honor. Many of Levi's fellow tax collectors and other guests were there, but the Pharisees and their teachers of religious law bitterly complained to Jesus' disciples, "How do you eat and drink with such scum?" And Jesus answered them, "Healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do. I have come to call sinners to turn from their sins, not to spend my time with those who think they are already good enough." Well, I think that day probably started out bad for Levi like it normally did, but then everything changed. He met Jesus when Jesus said, "Follow me." And that's when Levi's life changed from bad to good because he followed Jesus and found freedom. And Levi was so excited about meeting Jesus that he invited everyone he knew to come meet Jesus too. And I think, wow, what am I doing to share Jesus with people that I know? I'd sure like to be more like Jesus and see people like he does and be encouraging and kind and all those good things that we want to do. But often I don't listen, and I can get angry about what people say. But I think about what my friend did, how she shared Jesus to diffuse that tough situation. And she controlled her emotions, and she shut her mouth, and she simply prayed silently as that woman yelled at her. And the sheriff did show up, but he didn't arrest my friend. He brought a calm sense of assurance, and he told her everything was going to be fine. And then he prayed with her. That was such a sweet ending of that tough morning. And chances are, sometime this week, you're going to find somebody who's having a bad day too. But I encourage you to think about what you can do, to pray about it, to be kind, even if you don't think they deserve it, to listen to them, and try to break down those barriers, because that's what Jesus did when he invited that despised tax collector into his inner circle, because everybody needs the grace and the freedom that Levi received that day. So thanks, Daily Dosers. Hope you have a great day.